So when using Mr. Mark Softer with your decking, the points you need to sort of remember is yes, it is very strong. It can actually do a bit of damage. So first off, I did find that whenever you buy a nice new pot, right, I've already kind of added my little mixture to this, but what you'd do is you would paint this on to the decal just here, and what would happen is it would pool up. I mean, it's surface tension, it seems to have quite a bit of surface tension that will just pool up, and you have little beads everywhere. And what happens is these little beads will sit on the paintwork, it will sit on the decal, it can start eating into the paint a bit, you know, it can really eat into the decal as well and leave these little rings and stuff. You know, I mean, it's really got to sit there for quite a while as this little sort of droplet on there, right? And the best way around that, and I've been doing this for years, so I know they mix well. We've got Winsor & Newton's Flow Improver. What this does, it sort of breaks that surface tension, and it allows it to you know, sort of have that capillary action to flow out around and not pool up into little droplets. All I did was I got a pipette, added a mil at a time until when you start painting it on, like so, is that it won't pool up, right? Hopefully, as you can see there, it's just nicely spread out, because when you buy them straight away, it really does immediately start to kind of go into little droplets. Hopefully, as you can see there, it just goes on nice like a film. That's the first sort of major thing I really recommend you do when it comes to using Mr. Mark Softer. The other thing is you've got to be careful again that, you know, you don't let it concentrate too much. So yes, you know, get a kitchen paper towel out. If you put, say, a bit too much and it drips down, you know, just sort of clean those little bits up just so as it don't build up, because it can react. The other thing is what we're going to notice in a bit is as this starts to work onto our decal, what it's going to do is going to wrinkle it up, it's going to soften it up, and this allows it then to kind of like basically sort of shrink into all the recessed panel lines, all the recessed rivets, and thus start to make it look like it's been sprayed on, which is what we're after, right? But you've got to be careful, because I know when, say, if you use stuff like microsol and set, you go off with the microsol and you sort of, you know, wait until that looks dry, right? You can whack some more and you can keep whacking it on and whacking it on. But I do recommend with Mr. Mark Softer is to just be careful, right? You will see, I mean, actually, while I'm on camera here, we can probably, hopefully, you can sort of see, you know, it's starting to sort of wrinkle up. You can see some wrinkles kind of come there. It will really wrinkle up. Don't wait, don't look at it and go, okay, that looks dry now. Wait for the wrinkles to go away. This is kind of quite crucial, because if you see that it's dry but you've got those little wrinkles in there, it's not actually fully dry. And if you apply another coat on top of the decal when it's got wrinkles in it, you know, those wrinkles can start folding on themselves and it can start looking a little bit nasty. So really do recommend that you wait for it to dry, wait for those wrinkles to go out, then apply another coat, right? Quite crucial, because it can make things look a little bit funny. So just to quickly sort of show you exactly what I mean, if we bring you in, here is our decal or decal. As you can see, the solution has dried up on the top, it's kind of looking dry, but you've got all these tiny little wrinkles, right? That is what you want to avoid. That's what you want to avoid, going off and being tempted to whack more micro softer on there, because as I say, it can fold up those wrinkles. You want to wait for those wrinkles to go, then you apply another solution. Unlike, I mean, let's face it, microsol, it doesn't tend to wrinkle them up that much, and you can sort of get away with putting coat after coat after coat. You know, just to be careful with that. So I'm going to let that fully have all the wrinkles go out of it, see how it is, and move along with the next bit. So now that we've let these wrinkles go out, hopefully what you can see here is actually our Mr. Mark Softer actually does a pretty good job. This is just one coat on there, so it is a strong solution. It does work well with these HobbyBoss decals, and one coat has got that looking pretty good, but we just want to just improve that a little bit more. So if we just get out a blade and do the usual, you know, coming along, and we just sort of start at one end, following these recessed panel lines, and just let the weight of the blade cut into that. Right, we don't want to be pushing down. Also, because we've left it to dry and all this kind of stuff, we're not going to be sort of dragging the decal. If this was still wet, we could end up dragging the decal and making nasty sort of creases in there. Also, you might have noticed there was a bubble or two on the recessed panel lines, but that blade is taking care of them nicely. Right, and I think we've got just a little bit of silver in there that I'm just going to just touch out there. You probably couldn't see that on camera, and as you can see, even the recessed rivets have conformed rather nicely. Now, with the next coat, right, this is really why we have with this Mark Softer is these brushes, right? They are actually quite tough bristles, right? And there is a reason for this, right? Is that once we're at this stage where the decal's literally kind of really stuck down now, right? These finishing touches of the recessed panel lines and the recessed rivets, right? We can just come along and we sort of dab down at the recessed panel lines, recessed rivets, and it just helps it all nicely sort of conform and pushes it in to all those recessed panel lines and rivets. And then we can just sort of brush over this, right? Again, you know, this stuff is quite strong. It will wrinkle up the decals, so doing this, sorry about that, the phone, doing this sort of dabbing down, you don't want to be doing it after the decals had time to react. You know, doing it this stage just as it's all nice and dry and putting it on, you know, dabbing it down, that should be fine. But when it's wrinkling up, don't do that dabbing, and really that will probably kind of take care of that. So really, when you think about it, they are strong decaling solutions, but that was one coat, and this is the second coat where I'm actually sorting out the recessed panel lines and stuff. They are actually kind of quicker and in some ways better than sort of like the micro Solon set. I know the micro Solon set, you know, they work better with sort of decals that are like cartograph decals, and they're a bit sort of on the thinner side, and they work nicely with them. But you know, they are designed for those Eastern type decals, right? So I'm going to now let that sort of, you know, again wrinkle up and dry, and you just want to keep doing that for as many times as you need to, probably once or twice with these kind of solutions, until we've got, like on the other side, where we can just see all those nice recessed panel lines, recessed rivets are all nicely gone in there and sucked down, and it kind of has that sort of painted on look.